So thank you everyone for joining us today for the ASID Pennsylvania East Chapter webinar series. We welcome you. Today's webinar, Unlocking Your Social Media and Communications Potential, is an updated version from the Chapter Leadership Conference in August and is now tuned for not only chapter leaders, but chapter members and interior designers with businesses of their own. ASID is the oldest, largest, and only interior design organization where its members encompass all aspects of interior design. And our mantra is Design Impacts Lives. We'd like to thank the Pennsylvania East Chapter sponsors. Without their support through every year, programs like these are not possible. Our platinum sponsors are Fisher and Paykel, along with Gebhard's Appliances. Our gold sponsors, Benjamin Moore, Fessenden Hall, and Bright Light Design Center. And our silver sponsors, Dow Tile and Kravit. This webinar is being recorded, so please subscribe to the ASID Pennsylvania East Chapter YouTube channel to watch this presentation and other chapter programs at a later date. Questions during the presentation, we ask you to please use the Q&A feature. Caroline's going to be the one moderating the Q&A for us today, so please use the chat, but she'll put some notes in the chat for you as well. Please feel free to say hi to people you see, say hi to us in the chat. That is totally welcome, but we want to make sure all your questions are answered, and we can easily do that through the Q&A. Follow-up questions, you can reach us at communications@pae.asid.org. And just a little note for those of us in the Pennsylvania East Chapter area, our first in-person event of the year is our mini golf student supply drive at Liberty Grounds Mini Golf, where we'll be collecting supplies for area interior design students. We have 5 area programs. So please check out the Eventbrite as well as our events page on the chapter website for those items that are needed. If you aren't able to make it in person, you can easily donate on the Eventbrite funds towards those supplies. So again, thank you for joining us today. You are attending Unlocking Your Social Media and Communications Potential webinar presented by the Pennsylvania East Chapter of ASID. If you are just joining us right now, the webinar is being recorded. Questions, please use the Q&A. And the follow-up email you can reach us later is at communications@p.asid.org. And Caroline's going to put a lot of that information in the chat for you. So we're starting off our webinar today. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. As I mentioned, I am Kimberley Slater. I am the current communications director for the ASID PA East Chapter, which covers Eastern Pennsylvania, all the way from Lehigh Valley, all the way down to Delaware, Delaware and Southern New Jersey. I actually live in Southern New Jersey, about 10 minutes from Philadelphia. I've been a member of ASID now for over 16 years, and I practiced interior design for over 20 years, starting in hospitality design, commercial interiors in the Philadelphia region. Then I moved into residential design in Southern New Jersey and the Princeton, New Jersey area. And just over 5 years ago, I transitioned into the industry side as a A&D commercial consultant. Many of you would know that as a specification rep. I call on commercial design firms, kitchen and bath accounts in all of New Jersey, 2 counties in New York, and PA. And I've served as the communications director, previously past president, chair of our interior design awards in 2020, back at the helm of it for 2023. And I'm currently in my second and last term of being communications director. So if you're in our chapter area and you're interested in learning, please let us know. And I've also received the Service of the Chapter Award in the past and the Rising Star Chapter. So that's just a little bit about me, so you know who's talking to you. And just to give you a little sense of myself as well, this will be my header that you'll find on my LinkedIn page or my Facebook page. And interior design has been my life since I was one of those kids moving their bedroom furniture around every weekend to their parents' discontent. So This says it right here. Interior design is my life, and we all know we need the coffee in the morning to get through the day. Excuse me. So, and I'd like to thank, as we refer to each other, my ASID sister, Caroline. She's Allied ASID. She's popping on the screen to say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So she's Allied ASID, Green AP, CAPS, and she's joining me today for the Q&A and to correct me when she wants to interject. I first met Caroline at an ASID EXP. Rest is history. We came at a communications directors meeting talking about how we needed to update our chapter, what we needed to do better, what tools we needed from ASID National. She told me about this cool app the kids were using. It's Canva. We clicked and we've been friends since. Don't get us on the phone. We'll be on for like 2 hours. She's been an ASID member for over 30 years, starting as a student member and serving on our student chapter board. So we're counting that time. And she's participated in tons of community and other professional events. She's contributed some valuable information to the original presentation of this and the updated version. So that's why she's on here with me today. And I learned some even new things from her the other day. And she's currently the president-elect of the Florida South chapter, a past communication director and past professional development for her chapter. And she knows her ASID. So if you need somebody to go to her. She knows her stuff. So you'll be hearing a lot from her later. So let's start off. Communication is key. For those of you on the board, and for those of you who are members, you may always not know all the roles of everybody on the board. So as chapter communications director, you or the other members of your board are the facilitator for all communications between ASID headquarters, which we call HQ. So I'm going to use HQ, just know that for what that means, and your chapter to develop content and strategies and the communication channels between. Not only is your commitment to being on the board to have the fiduciary responsibility, it's also your responsibility to keep your chapter on brand. You are the liaison between your committee, your chapter members, your board, to facilitate all messaging relating to the chapter, headquarters, news, and events. You provide oversight to all media channels on behalf of the chapter. You're the glue as the communications director, and that role is to ensure that all the program committees are providing you with the info in time. The professional development directors are ensuring that the 7 webinars and the CEUs and events are to you in a timely manner, to promote in a timely manner and on brand. And the communications is the voice of the chapter and needs to remain on brand. Can you see? I'm even on brand in my outfit today from the coloration of this program. The most important thing, use your chapter email if you are a chapter board member. And members, this is why we use our chapter emails and we communicate to you that way, is because it's professional, and that way you can see we're staying on brand, we're using our chapter emails in a way to contact you, and also it's allocated within the dues allotment to the chapter, so we're paying for them, use them. Only a few years ago, our chapter had very little social media presence. We were lagging. We did not have a strong awareness as a professional organization and a very populated community. There are multiple design organizations and 5 design programs, as I mentioned, in our area. Previously, we only sent out an online e-newsletter, which was completely outdated, both visually and content related. So that was step 1. We recognized that other organizations' social media was actively engaging members and opening their doors to those in the design community who were not only members through these platforms. We saw it's an opportunity to get the word about our chapter, our events, and promote our chapter and the practitioner and industry partner members of ASID. Recognize our sponsors and create brand awareness. All the touch points you see here that we have built on over the years have become increasingly critical in the past 2 years. We have established guidelines for a communication schedule, ones that we had loosely in place. And you'll see how expanded our reach was sharing out all events to all ASID members and the interior design community, and how we established webinar guidelines. you can see here, you might be in a completely different state on the other side of the country from where I am right now, and you are joining us today. So that's by sharing it out. So as an example, just a little tidbit, in 2017, our Instagram had about 350 followers, and we had 12 posts in a 3-year period. Now that's only on that platform, but I'm going to use an example, 12 posts, 3 years. With the tips and guidance we'll provide, so a chapter of any size, or if you're a designer and you have your own business, you can easily implement these concepts to grow your presence and unlock your communications potential. Now, remember that tidbit I told you about our Instagram account? Today, we have almost 1,000 posts. I slacked off during the holidays, and about 1,500 followers, which we organically reached. So I hope we hit that number by, if you're not following ASID PA East right now, you go follow us at the end of this presentation. So campaigns is another big thing. Find a pro. This campaign design matters, and so does the interior designer you hire / what we call Find a Pro, launched in 2021 in print and social media. We'll review this campaign later and all the parties involved, but we first will show you how we got there and what's involved. So how it started, we started with creating a branding package that aligned with ASID headquarters brand standards, updated our newsletter, updated everything to link to their chapter website, and have since grown our social outreach package, our graphics package, and our online presence over time through consistent posting and sharing out with other chapters. You can really use this in relation as well to your chapter or your business. Branding your content, aligning with ASID headquarters allows for consistency and recognition that we're all one organization. It also provides a visual impact and easy recognition that this is an ASID PA East event or program, or an ASID Missouri program, an ASID California, Nevada program, whatever chapter you are, it provides that recognition. And who does it benefit from? Everybody, members to non-members, to your membership, to your board, and to your committees. So we're going to do a poll. This is the first time I'm doing this, so please bear with me. We're going to try this right here. So poll 1. Okay. So do your graphics align with ASID or your business standards if you're just a member joining? So take a minute and answer this, and we'll reveal the results in a minute. Oh, it's working. Yeah, I can't really try this in the test run. So, okay, we'll give everybody another few seconds or so to answer, because I can see everybody is answering. Wonderful. Got a little bit more here. Fabulous. Wonderful. Okay. So to share the results, 43% of you say yes, they align with the brand standards. Nobody said no. Yay. Some people say some of the time, and 19% said they don't know, and 38% said some of the time. So that's our first poll. Okay. So poll 2. Who designs the graphics for your chapter? Another multiple choice question. So we can see here, and we'll give you a few seconds for everybody to answer this question. I'm seeing an interest. The numbers are going up and down. It's kind of fun to watch because you don't see it yet. But we'll wait for everybody to answer. Few more seconds for them to come in. Okay. And I'm going to share the results. So 26% of you say your communications director. For our chapter, I design the graphics. Same percentage, it's a graphics chair or communications committee. So that's great. You're working in tandem together, but you got a second hand. 32% say your administrator. Keep in mind, no offense administrators, but administrators are paid. See what your chapter, if you can get a committee member to work on that and help with some of that. Graphics are time consuming. So I like doing it. It's kind of fun, but keep that in mind. 26% of you use third party, and 2% of you are not sure. So just some interesting information just to see where you may lie with your chapter. Okay, so first up, how we did it. We ensured that all branding of all social media posts and graphics for events were in accordance with the text and colors of the ASID brand. So if you have your own business, you probably have your specific colors that you have for your brand and specific fonts that you have put together for your package. As a chapter leader, you can find this on the ASID reference guide. And what this does is it keeps your social, your graphics, and your media all consistent with ASID. Here you can see the two main fonts that are used along with the branded colors. Please note, the red is now a secondary color, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. You can also see that these are the colors that you might find on the ASID website as well. So take a look at those and reference of what the primary colors are and what the secondary colors are. If you don't have these files, they're available in the SharePoint drive from the Chapter Leadership Conference in August. Keep in mind what your primary colors are and your secondary, and go from there. So next, we created a graphics package for each event or program, highlighting all multiple graphic sizes. So each event, program, campaign has the same design for that specific event, and that is resized for the ASID website graphics and for social media. You can do this for your business as well. You name it, we do it. Now, keep in mind, we do not alternate the logo from the standard format. For example, do not use your logo in a coordinating color, and is the utmost importance. I am going to stress this enough. It is of the utmost importance when using the ASID logo. Do not use any other colors than the white, the black, or the red. The red is the last one you use right now. The red is used in email communications and as well as any formal letters, press releases that go out. But if you look on the ASID website or any communications from National, it's the black and the white. The red is the last one you use now. Would you want to put the red on top of the magenta? It's not going to really look good. So please use that. If you are using your chapter logo in your social media in any other color, like the blue or the turquoise, do not do that anymore. That is against brand standards. So if your business has standards of colors and fonts, keep this consistent through your posting as well. You can use these same principles for your business. On some occasions, we have outsourced a graphic designer for larger events such as our design awards and our print campaigns. Some chapters use Photoshop or InDesign, but we actually use Canva. Learned that from Caroline. And it's a web-based program that's about $125 a year and allows you to resize without issue, create multiple size versions of your images within minutes. We might use an Adobe stock image that we have licenses for to work with our graphics, but you have that. We can even share the designs with other chapters and vice versa through the program. So designs don't have to be recreated. Happened yesterday. Illinois contacted our admin about one of our sponsorship packages. Their president had seen that. She liked the format. So our admin passed it off to me, and through Canva, I shared it right to them so that they have that as a starting point and they don't have to recreate it. So it's really easy. And if your chapter is using Canva, it's a great tool for everybody to use instead of reinventing the wheel. So one of the most important things we created was a cheat sheet. Now, you can screen grab this. You can take a picture of it. Go ahead. We also have it on that SharePoint drive from CLC. So I was always writing down on Post-its what sizes I needed for the graphics. And now this image is taped up here right on the shelf on my desk. But it includes everything you need, from the website event graphic size, to slides on a main chapter of the website, to the Zoom header, if it applies, Facebook event header, Instagram story, Eventbrite header, YouTube header, beginning slide, PowerPoint, everything. You can size it to whatever you want, postcards you're doing. So you want to make sure that everything matches. So every fiscal year, we change up the graphics for events. You'll see that in a minute. So it changes with each president and keeps things fresh and new. So if you have your own business, but you're keeping your colors on brand, but every year you want to kind of change it up, thinking of it as like merchandising. If you have a storefront, you're always trying to change things up, but still keep it on brand. So we update these graphics, and we have a PDF file, as I mentioned, on that SharePoint drive. So the complete graphic suite, you can see here the outcome of branding for one event of multiple format sizes you need. Now, this was from a 2021, this was a year ago, January event, and the graphics have changed since then. And I'm even going to kind of reference that a little bit later. But keep in mind how much text is on the graphic. We'll revisit that later. And the most important thing is tag and use hashtags. So for a large event like this, industry partner webinar, we always tagged the speakers' accounts because then they just easily reshared it and it was on brand, and you made sure that the content was consistent and the language was consistent. We also created a video content for our Academy Day, which was a day of CEUs with industry partners. So we did Instagram lives with the panelists ahead of time to create further awareness of the event and create an interest. And most importantly, add all of these to the website, any events you do, as a complete landing page. If it's a large event, highlight it in the drop down under the website under events. You can create drop downs for highlighted events. And if it's after the event, you can keep that page. There's content for people to follow up of, you know, a recap of the event, or you can move that to news or resources. Now, in this instance, I have changed the look. We've changed the look for the fiscal year, as I mentioned. So we still kept in branding, and also we played off some of ASID graphics. Use the graphics that they do, just as a basis to kind of give yourself a gauge to keep yourself, so your graphics for your chapter also look consistent with nationals. There's that commonality. So something very important I want to point out here. Look at the graphics here. They're clean and they give a call to action. Register today. So just keep that in mind and we'll go into that. But one of the things I want to talk about first is QR codes. I see a lot of people using QR codes. They're great. I use them for business. And the one thing I note is if you are mailing something out, like a postcard to your annual meeting or your design awards, QR codes are great, like on an invitation like that. You can do it, the person gets it, because you know if there's just a website link, there's less chance they're going to go type it in and look it up. They have their phone there, they get the postcard, they can scan it. Super easy. Great way to do that. If you have, and that QR code can go right to your registration part. But if you, so here's like a postcard I have for an event that my rep group does. We hand these at events or at firms. There's a QR code. Scan it, done, perfect. Traffic has increased. But do not use that. I highly recommend do not using that QR code on your social media. Why? Because people are looking at their phone. And unless they're sitting with they're looking on their iPad and they got their iPhone next to them and they're looking at it, if it's on their social media, they can't scan it. They're just seeing it. They can't scan it. So it's not as practical that way. So try it now. You can't do it unless you have another device. So if you're looking at your email on a computer, you can hold up your phone, sure. But to give you an idea, 68% of people look at stuff on their phone. So, and I'm going to go back to that number in a minute, but so that's how a lot of people look at stuff in invitations. So before we move ahead, I inquired with you to look at these graphics. They're clean, to the point, versus the earlier ones I showed a minute ago. Here we go. They're very clean. So if what you want to look at is you have a website, you have an Eventbrite, you have a Zoom link, whatever your registration goes to about your event, what's going on, a charity thing. But whatever your graphic is, it is just your main invitation. It is not, it's the main information. It is not the invitation to your event. Do not try to put what you put on a 2-page 5x7 invitation and that 800 by 800 pixel information. You want to look at your who, your logo. Make sure it's only the white, the black, maybe the red, Subject and event, your what, the name and the event of the program, where, the location, the name of the venue or online, your city or state, the date and the time. Allow all your other information to be on your event page, your Eventbrite or your Zoom webinar registration page. Put your call to action on your graphic, register today or link in bio. Keep it clean and simple. If you go look at ASID National's graphics, they are very clean and simple. They say the date, the time, what it is, and sometimes, you know, where to go register. But right now, I want you to take your phone and look at it. I know you're looking at me, but take your phone. You've got it. Go to your social media. Go look at your chapter's page. Is it full of, is there text? Just click on one, you know, recent post for your chapter. Can you read that post just looking at your phone clearly without your readers? Got mine here. I need them anyway. Do you need to sit there and zoom in on the graphic to read it? Are you having trouble reading it because the contrast between the colors is not enough, or the font is a font that's too scripty and is very hard to read, or because there's not enough contrast in the font color to the background, or is the size of the font too small? You might be designing this on your computer or in Canva, but people are looking at it on their phones. It is a small format. Keep that in mind. You're looking at it on your screen right here, but when it goes small, it's very hard to read. So as I mentioned, 68.1% of website app visits in 2020 came from mobile devices. Instagram is a mobile app device. So too much text equals too small and hard to read on your phone. If somebody's got so much text with every little detail about their event, you're just swiping through. You don't even want to be bothered. Put that in your content, put it on your website, put it on your Eventbrite page. And here's another thing, a tip so you might not know. Even logos with words push you down in the algorithm. So ASID Pennsylvania East, American Society of Interior Designers Pennsylvania East is already 7 words, which means I have already got 7 letters in the content. Yes, you're trying to express the name of your event. You're trying to tell people what the event is, like a chapter networking and social event. Yes, you're trying to give them the date and time. There's no way around that, but be cognizant of that. The more text on in there, the further you are pushed in the algorithm, the less likely somebody's going to see that. So keep that in mind. So what is most important when posting on any social media or web format is to share it out. That is the theme of today, sharing it out. And you can see that even for the webinar today. We have also found that sharing out of the content via emails to all communications directors, admins, professional development directors, etc. There's even all chapters email. It goes to everybody on every board. Has increased visibility and participation. You most likely have received an email from me in the past, and I know I've probably received one from you. Hi, we're having this event. It may benefit your chapter, your members. If you'd like to share it out, it doesn't conflict with your event, please feel free to post. Here's the graphics. Here you go. So by doing so, we have increased the example. As you can see, an example, here's the Tennessee chapter reposting the one event that we did last year. And just the other day, ASID National reposted this webinar. They did as well today. So you can easily do that by tagging all the people that are involved. This way they reshare it to events on all platforms, tag ASID headquarters, tag your chapter, tag other chapters. If you're a business owner and you're posting something, you're going to event, tag them, tag. If you're posting about a project, tag an industry partner that you used on that project, and they'll be more apt to share it out. You can easily hide tags, and tagging people by changing the fonts to the color of your background. It kind of makes them disappear. And you can do that on an Instagram story. And then by adding tags and hashtags in your Instagram story, it actually pushes the views up. So again, think about it. Can they read all that text, especially in the main feed graphic? Instagram story, it's a little bit different because there's something that disappears in 24 hours. So if you're doing something for all students, tag all the area programs and your student chapters. And the end result is everybody benefits because they're being exposed to your chapter events, your business events, and you're promoting your members, your other chapter industry partners, your practitioners, and the design community. So examples of keeping on brand we have here are the visual format of Instagram and our feed, but this can be done on your website, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, and your Twitter. We repost ASID headquarters posts. There is content and graphics that you do not have to do any work for. You can just repost that. Not everybody follows every social media program and account, so you can easily reshare something ASID National is doing. Or if a chapter says, oh, here's my program, go share it out, repost that there. So one, as I mentioned before, you can use ASID graphics as a guide, but you can also see here is an image from New York Metro that let us use one of their posts for the CLC presentation, and they allowed us to share this, but you can see that the logo, the text, and the graphics were on brand, very clean and simple. And little thing, that 9 hashtags is a good number. So everybody benefits from this, from our social media, our newsletters, our webinar programs. Everybody learns about everything our chapter is doing, ASID is doing, and the content being showcased on multiple platforms allows for members and non-members to learn about the diversity, qualifications, and value of being a qualified ASID interior design member. So creating a go-to and a link page where you can feature main chapter links. So you can use this link on your Facebook post, within your Twitter, you can use it on LinkedIn, but for Instagram stories, there is now this amazing feature that you can add a link to direct click. We did that today for our Instagram stories. It's a great feature because prior to do that swipe up, you needed 10,000 followers. What you can really easily do on that now link feature is you can change the words to whatever you want. You could say register, sign up now, join us. It's kind of cool. It doesn't have to have the link address. So with this is Linktree. You can do a basic version that is unbranded, but we have found if you pay like $6 a month, you can completely brand the link page with logos, images, the icons for the event are all branded. We even use this to put direct links for our chapter sponsors, and you can even use this link in your newsletter or write directly to your full calendar. You can use this link to feature on all your social media platforms, as I mentioned, because keep in mind, you're scrolling through something, too many clicks, get stopped, you're done. I'm like, this is too much effort. So this gives you a quick, easy way, link in bio, here we go. Here's the event, I'm good, I can register. We've also created a highlight line, which I know many chapters have done, and you can brand these. It gives you the opportunity to archive stories that are important. It provides platform for members or even non-members to see things you've done in the past or learn about your chapter. I've got this in a format in Canva, so if it's something you might be interested in, I've got already where it's like perfectly centered. Be happy to share it for you. And we've also added a highlighted page on our website over time, including and going to a link to this to our website to clarify, sorry. This links to our website, but we have highlighted pages on our website now, which include past chapter award recipients, fellows, past presidents of the board, and we've even added some great ideas from other chapters we saw during CLC, such as resources to like the chapter map and resources to legislation and all crazy ideas. So like, again, like sharing out through Canva, share out your ideas, use everything from experience and, help everybody else. So our chapter benefit by creating a structured program of communication guidelines on our website for posting on our social media and in our newsletters. This is referencing third-party submissions. So under resources on our website, we provide communication guidelines that detail requirements for posting for members and non-members that include deadlines and the content that we need. So by creating these guidelines, we've established a structure we didn't have before. And these programs lay the foundation to grow our chapter awareness. So it includes things like submission requirements for text and links. Members and chapter sponsors are your bread and butter. So make sure the priority. Who's reading your newsletter? What content are you going to put in there? Not just because everybody sends you something does mean you have to put in, especially non-members. What you want to make sure is you're resharing ASID headquarters posts or events in your newsletter as well, because somebody might not check those. If it's something important like a CEU webinar, put it in your newsletter. We also share out design community free events featuring other ASID chapter industry partners that are open to all members. And other ASID chapters, if you are doing something like we mentioned, sharing out this event right now, we'll post those as well in our newsletter. Just make sure it doesn't conflict with your chapter events, and you can always look at monetizing non-member submissions. Guidelines with your chapter itself, all content should be ready. We know it doesn't happen, but try to have everything to, your communications director, the one making up all the pages and the graphics, about 6 to 8 weeks in advance, which means your planning should begin in advance. Have your registration for your Zoom, your Eventbrite, website links all ready before you go to post. And also, are you using a schedule? Schedule for posting in newsletters and e-blasts lets people know when they are and when to expect the news. So try to keep your blasts at about no more than 2 a week, sometimes 3 if you're having a big event like your design awards. Keep your days consistent on what type of post you do. So we do our newsletter on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of the month. We changed that because you get the chapter roster on the 1st Tuesday. So it allows us to add new members, move people around, and it keeps that consistent. We do some other things like sponsor blasts and new member blasts on alternate Wednesdays. And sometimes we do big events on like a Monday or a Friday. Big thing we have found is personalizing our newsletters. And I have some great new statistics regarding this. So what we do is we split up our newsletter to 4 different kinds, 4 different contact lists. So each newsletter has a slightly different version and structure. So it's the same structure, but there's certain content that is not privy to non-members that's privy to chapter members. And there's things that are for students that practitioners aren't going to want. And there's things that are for practitioners that the students aren't going to want to know about. So we take that newsletter, start with the main one, and slightly modify it for a practitioner contact list, an industry partner contact list, a student contact list, and a general unaffiliated. So that's anybody who's non-chapter member or ASID member who's interested in our information and our events. What we found by splitting that up and making your content personal affects your open and click ratios versus one giant blast. So if we do separate, we typically get between 20 and 30% open rates. If one blast, you might get 10 to 15. So our last member open rate on our newsletter, which went out last Wednesday, I was so excited when I saw this, 38% for general contacts, 38% for students, 28% for IPs, and for membership, I think it was one of the highest open rates ever. We had 54%. I am extremely excited about that. So go us. But think about that. It's very simple and easy to do. It takes me like an extra 20 minutes to do it, but it's super easy. Like the last student went out last week, had the portfolio competition really big right at the top. So, and again, as I mentioned, we change up the graphics for each year. So this is the new header for our newsletter, and there's Florida South, which they let us share. So here is an example of a previous newsletter from 2021, where we included our events, our news, our campaigns, ASID headquarters events, and other chapter events, which benefits everybody. It features members, IP events, and other chapters. By including this curated content and personalizing it, it benefits everybody. So that's just a little example there. Okay, so poll 3, interactive time. Okay, here we go. So 3rd poll, when was the last time your chapter business or your business posted on social media? So last year technically was 25 days ago. So if it's more than like December, that I would consider that last year. Last month would be December. So if your chapter hasn't posted since before December, or your business hasn't posted, put that there. So we'll let everybody answer this question because it's quite important. It's just something very interesting to see. Okay. And we're going to share the results. So yesterday was about 36%, very nice. Last week was about 36% as well. Last month, December, not bad, 4%, but new year and more than 60 days, nobody yet. Last year, nobody yet. I follow everybody all the time. There are some that have not posted in a while. So please be cognizant of that. As we mentioned, your communication, as communications, you are the one getting the word out to your membership and your design community. So here's the events that the results that you can see here. Okay, next up. Here we go. Okay, last poll for today is, do you follow your chapter social media? Yes or no? This is the big one. Okay, got a few more seconds. We see mostly everybody is answering this question. Okay, so I'm going to share the results. 21% of you are not following your chapter social media. Now, not everybody has Instagram. We get that. But do you, as a business owner or a practitioner or an industry partner, you most likely or should have a LinkedIn page. Follow your chapter's LinkedIn page. You may have a Facebook. Some chapters use Twitter. We have one. I don't use it a lot because not mostly people follow on there. We have a TikTok. I've done one. I'm not good with that. So if you're in our chapter area and you're really good with Reels and TikToks, please let us know. We need help with that. But here is your results so that you can see that here. So 79% of you follow your chapter. So that is fabulous. Okay. Okay. And the last thing we're going to go into is our campaigns. So our biggest campaign to date launched in 2021 in conjunction with a major print ad in Philadelphia Style magazine. As our chapter is comprised of, and many other chapters are, mainly of many highly accomplished designers. It started with our financial director, Dave Belwar, wanting to do an ad. And as an IP and chapter sponsor, he wanted to show the value of an IP working with an ASID interior designer. Financially, the print ad fit within our budget and our social media is free. So if a member signs up for the upgraded feature spot, you as a member can do that and be featured on the Find a Pro, but the chapter also benefits from that as well. So this benefited our strategic plan initiative for 2021. For 2020 to 2021, and financially it stayed within our budget. Our immediate past president, Dr. Deidre Semino, implemented this into our strategic plan, and she created the initial design, content, layout, and imagery. As communications, I mocked up the ad for brand consistency, and we worked with the graphic designer we've used previously to create the print ad version, so it was that nice high quality. And now our current president, Deb Campbell, when she was president-elect, was on the committee and to review the campaign. And as this ad will run throughout our year, it's something you could always keep doing. Our membership director, Vita Vygoska, wanted to make sure that her bottom line of what is the value of to the member and your membership was a forefront. And through this campaign, we are featuring a way to link potential clients to them and feature them in social media campaigns so that people will have an awareness of the projects that our membership does. Our SRB at the time, Lindsay Bedford, student rep to the board, she's now our emerging professionals chair, wanting to include students. So everybody was involved and it all benefit. As a result of the combined initiatives, other chapters have sought out to use this ad as a promotion of the Find a Pro feature, and that design matters, and so does the interior designer. So it benefited everybody. So here you can see is the great ad. It shows all those values. This was the giant print ad. We also did a postcard that we mailed out to members advising them of this was going out to update their Find a Pro. You get a main Find a Pro profile as a chapter member. So go in there, update it. You can't have pictures and stuff. That's if you upgrade, you get the benefit of pictures and your headshot. But it gives you that ability to put that information about yourself there. So you can see here we had newsletter headers, social media reminders. The postcard is shown here on the back telling people about that. And the magazine that the original ad was posted in shared it as part of their social media to their Instagram story. And why it was only shared to the story and not the feed was that they would not allow any logos or text in the feed post. So it could just be the image, which of course, if you're trying to keep something on brand and have somebody learn about ASID, you want the logo on there and you want the Find a Pro. The Find a Pro is your call to action, that logo. So we did it on the story so we could have that impact of having that information there. A big thing is with the print ad was that despite all the contractual review, and now I know a lot of designers on here work with magazines, so this is something you might have experienced before, or if you haven't, something to be aware of. You don't have control over the final placement or the type of paper, which can alternate coloration or the intent of the ad to what you like, and you can't push the publisher. So the investment reflects on not just you, but multiple people. If you have employees, if you're a chapter, it's reflecting on your chapter and your chapter members. So it reflects on your organization, but the publisher doesn't understand that. They're just like, here's our ad, let's place it. But something we noted that may not benefit again for our chapter is to do this print ad is because the final publication was not to our standards. You can't control the choice of paper, as I mentioned, and the placement, which in the end visually impacted the quality of the color. So here you can see, very muted. The Find a Pro was pink. It wasn't the bright magenta. So as a board, we controlled the type of postcard, our social media, the quality of papers when we put it out ourselves. But in the end, we couldn't control the print ad. Oops, sorry. So the social media campaign that aligned with this, running across all platforms, has every different thing from explaining about different types of levels of practitioners, what industry partners are, and the different posts express all these different things. We're also featuring submissions from members. So you see like a little bathroom here. You see this example of a retail showroom from actually one of our chapter sponsors, which was designed one of our practitioners who is a past president. So she designed the showroom for one of our chapter industry partners and sponsors. So that's a great relay to do that. So all the submissions that we ask for, it's always on a constant basis, are easily submitted to our admin. A committee reviews them to make sure they follow all the guidelines, and they always have to use industry partner products. And a little tip, I did this all in Canva. It took about 15 minutes to set up, as the program allows you to duplicate the image and arrange the order, and quickly did that to duplicate this. Another big campaign we did was our 2020 Design Awards. Now I know it's 2022, but we do our Interior Design Awards. That's what we call them, Interior Design Awards for the Philadelphia region every 2 years. We don't do it every year, but we had our largest Interior Design Awards in 2020. So we did save the dates and competitive competition postcards that were mailed out at the beginning of the competition. We did direct message firms, social media accounts, and sent direct emails to the firms, because a lot of that, their marketing team is the ones who do that. And we post on all platforms and websites. We did a digital program book, you'll see, and invitations, and then we did invitations again. Hi, pandemic. But we also had industry partner reps who were on the committees who talked about the design awards at their firms. I'm a rep. I shamelessly plugged it everywhere I went. Because that's the difference with our design awards, is it is open to the whole designing community. It's not just member specific, because we're trying to put out there that brand awareness of our chapter. So the digital program I put, because now we moved our event from in person to another date in person to virtual. So we did a digital program with ads. We mailed second invitations because it was 6 months later, and we wanted people to have the correct information. Yes, we spent additional money on a second set of invites, but it was due to the fact that that was 6 months later and people just weren't opening their emails at that point. To give you an idea, from this constant push, constant direct messaging, posting on our social media, pushing this information out, doing all this, when we send out these postcards again this year for the competition or an invitation to the gala in 2023, the awards, we're putting QR codes on them for people to scan right to it. But just to give you an idea, we had a significant income from competition fees. We had our largest competition entrance to date. Our program we were able to create a profit for, because the only thing was the graphics, which were already put into our budget for graphics for the program from our designer. And after all the expenses, the competition fees, programs, ad sales, Eventbrite, everything like that, we did donations because we didn't have the event in person. It was virtual. Our chapter had a revenue of over $25,000. So a big plus for us for that, especially in a year when it's very hard to do things in person. So we also did some other campaigns that need to focus on members when we couldn't meet in person. In our area, we're having that trouble again. We were back out in person and now we're home again a little bit. So we have things like Member to Watch, where it features up and coming members, past older members, not old, but like the been members for many years, that have that feature some things that are unique and working on. We also have our ASID has their career opportunities job page. We have one for our own chapter, which is a direct link to all jobs in our area in the design field. Chapter members get featured at the top with their logo, so it's a great thing. And our biggest, newest campaign that we have is our new industry partner directory, which is found under the resources tab on the website. Chapter sponsors are featured at the top of the logo, but we've created a place for industry partner where chapter members can easily go and access the directory from our most trusted chapter industry partners. Webinars and presentation. This is the largest component of the last 2 years, was the challenge that many chapters face: online meetings and webinars. So many of you had not heard of the word Zoom. We can even, still to this day, can you hear me? You're muted. This is something that's going to stay around. We're on a webinar right now. And it's easier to present to a larger audience and other chapters and across the globe. We found that live discussions often went, in the beginning of all of this, off topic. Material was not relevant to the discussion. There was political commentary. There were commercials for the presenter. Profanity. No, you do not use that during a professional webinar. Yes, I have my water right here. You can have a beverage, but do not have your bourbon sitting there while you're presenting. Things like that. So as a result, this process and these processes and experiences resulted in our chapter establishing guidelines about proper professional behavior during a presentation. And we have this in a PDF format that goes out to anybody who presents on our platform. So we found that presenters and panelists, despite their credentials, were not always polished presenters. And additionally, we require them to be vetted before going online. So one could clearly ascertain where the format was being, some of these presentations was being figured out as the panel or moderator were going live to audience, and realized we need to implement a mandatory run through with all parties, and one that is a consistent moderator for all events. So typically it's like me or, our professional development director, but there's always somebody behind the scenes running it, so it's consistent. You're keeping on brand. We also, through our online programming, if something didn't work, we saw the opportunity to change it. As I mentioned, running through all these guidelines that we have, and we could happy to share this out for you if you want to use that as well. One of the things is know the difference between your presentation. A meeting is like a free-for-all. You see like 50, 60 people on screen. It's very hard to control them, mute them, things like that. Webinars are for professional development, speakers, CEUs. It's an added cost on a platform like Zoom, but it's worth it. You can also see who's registered and come online. You could put, everybody who registered for this, you were able to put what chapter you belong to, so we can sort that out and see where everybody's from. We can see who's members who have joined. And also know, can you repost the presentation after? Can you record it? So this is being re-recorded right now, and we will post it on our YouTube page once I edit it out. The presentation from CLC, the Chapter Leadership Contest Conference in August, we were not able to record it because it was run through ASID National, and it's on the Chapter Leader Resources page on the website, but I'm not able to take that and repost it on our page. So this one will be there for you, plus it's updated. And CUs you cannot record. So also, we established the branding of the virtual presentations and meetings so they aligned with our chapter and ASID brand standards. So your avatar should be your chapter logo and your presentation name if you're the host. So if I were to stop my video, usually we'll probably just see the little ASID logo. And hopefully that didn't stop myself. So you can see Caroline's beautiful face right there on hers. So that's her little avatar right there. Lighting. So I have permanent lighting that keep me lit. I can change the volume of the light. I can change the tone of the light. So it's great. If anybody wants to know which one I'm having, I'll send you the link. Large events, always do a run through. And if it's a big event, have a tech crew with you that can have a switcher and do things. That's really for big events, but something like this, always do a run through. Caroline and I did one the other day. We even kind of quickly did it before this. And have a consistent moderator so your message remains the same. So I'm just going to refresh your memory before we finish up. We have this header slide for events. We have a slide that talks about the presentation being recorded. We have where to use the Q&A. So in review, you can see how a chapter of any size or business can brand, increase your awareness, and establish your guidelines to present meaningful and beneficial content. And you now have the keys to unlocking your own chapter or business's communications potential, which are share it out and keep it branded. So again, I'm Kimberley Slater, allied to ASID, associate IIDA, well AP. I'm a commercial consultant background with Feston & Hall, and I'm the communications director for the Pennsylvania East Chapter of ASID. So I want to thank all the chapter board leaders, chapter members for joining us today and the time you've put into joining us. If you are a chapter member or a chapter leader, know that these presentations were done on your own chapter leader's time to present to other chapter leaders in August. And they spent a lot of time of their own to present out their knowledge to other chapters to benefit everyone. This presentation alone, I think originally I spent about 60 hours on. So to give you that information. So thank your chapter leaders of your board for their time and effort if they presented at that. So I'd like to also thank my fellow board members, who some of you are on today. I know Deb Campbell, you are on here, our president, and my company, Feston & Hall, who allows me time to work on all my ASID stuff. So keep it branded and share it out. And Caroline, thank you. Caroline's going to come on. Hello, Miss Come on.
Hello, hello, hello.
So she is going to, okay. She's going to go through the Q&A.
So we've had a couple questions and actually as well as chats. So
okay.
Doreen wants to get your presentation, and then Doreen Hunter. Yes, yes, okay. Please. So and I.
Go ahead, and I will also part answer that, but go ahead.
Okay, and I did post that you will be sending that out. The other thing she's asking is how do you vet a person before they present? How do you go through that process?
That's really good. That's really hard. One of it is if they're an industry partner, see if they presented online somewhere, if they are a well-known speaker. It's always tricky. But one of the main things is ask them if they presented on a webinar before. Also ask them, to give you a synopsis of what they're going to be talking about. Have they presented that itself before? Really go and see if they presented online before, and you can look at that somewhere else. I think that's a really good key, because if they presented online in this format, it's going to be on a YouTube somewhere. Go and look at that. That's really important. As we expressed, it's by trial and error. It is a little tricky because we had some of those, but you know, you can edit out parts of webinars sometimes before you go to post it. Things happen during them. One really good key is if you have a person who is on as a presenter, like Caroline's here right here with me, I give her a presenter link. They cannot share that to somebody else or give them their Zoom login to share, because if Caroline shared her Zoom login to somebody else attending, like her friend around the corner, because she's in as a presenter, that person is going to log in and you're going to see them here as well. Trust me, we did this amazing presentation. It's on our YouTube with Mary Nackstead, who is a past president of the ASID PA East Chapter and a fellow. But she shared it out to some of our friends, and there was a lovely little lady in a red jacket eating some popcorn, and I could not boot her out because then I would have booted Mary out. So just kind of keep that in mind. Caroline, how would you answer that question?
No, that was very well answered, and I actually saw that webinar where Mary had an alias of 3-4 people with her name, so it gets distracting.
Yeah. Yes, I was trying to talk, and I'm trying to like tell somebody to like please mute your picture and yourself. So
but vetting, her question's very good. Vetting is like basically get their resume, get their bio, get to know them, go through a trial run like Kim's been doing before, and go through the list. You have, Kim, do you have your list of criteria that you put in on your website about the rules and what you have for your chapter?
Well,
for the panelists?
For speakers, we like to, for presentations, unless you are a chapter sponsor, we kind of put them at a hierarchy for a presentation online, because chapter sponsors will be able to use we'll let them use our platform and present out for them. If you're a chapter industry partner, we will share out your information. If you are not a member and you're trying to do some type of product thing, no, you're not, we're not going to share it out as much. So that's a possibility where you can monetize putting it in your newsletter. But the preference is your membership. Now, there might be something like a speaker that's really cool, because we're looking at a lot of speakers. But in that regard, we're looking to see where they've spoken before. Like we have a speaker at our design awards, and I have seen her speak. And this is like a year ahead in 2023, but I have seen her speak. I have seen her present online nationally, and she's a very engaging speaker. So that's what we're really looking at to kind of garner that. We don't have that quite criteria, except for kind of like how the posting is, but we have our guidelines if you're selected to present of how you're going to follow. And it's like 4 pages now. They kind of run through. So we'll be happy to share that for you. You can tweak it as you need, but if they don't have to sign off on it, but be cognizant of it, So
Doreen has one final question, is that, was this event solely created in Zoom? I think so. Yes.
So this event, this webinar I presented through whatever ASID used as their webinar format, which I think ended up being on a Zoom, back in August. But is created on a PowerPoint. But I'm a little picky. I don't like how things move around on PowerPoint. You go to click on it and the screen starts moving. So I actually create all the slides in Canva, and then I just take them and drop them as one image in the PowerPoint. I know it seems like a little extra work, but it's not, because then I can just take the graphic, everything is branded in the font, and then it's done. And I just slide it over, and it's kind of easy. If everybody wants me to walk through and share my screen, I'll show you how I do it. But for me, it works in the end, and I go to click on something and it doesn't move, and I like it. So that's kind of, do that. So
I strongly suggest everyone to just email Kim, and she'll make sure she'll get back to you for sure.
Yeah. And if I don't know, I'm going to forward you to Caroline.
Sure. Great.
She knows.
So Terry's asking, can you have our admin post these documents to the admin SharePoint? I think this is the SharePoint.
Right. Well, actually, just Terry, I can ask her to do that, but all of these are posted already. I uploaded them all to the SharePoint from CLC. It's under communication. So you should already have that access from CLC, but I can ask her to do that.
And also from CLC, if you go to the main ASID website under chapter resources in the Academy, you'll see Kim's presentation last year. So the full presentation, you'll be able to see it. They kept a recording of that. And they also kept a lot of the recordings of all the other peer-to-peer training.
Yes. And I had trouble finding it. So don't worry if you have trouble finding it. Okay. Any other questions?
Actually, there were some, of course, we said, put it in the chat.
I think there's another one down there.
Is there another one? There is. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm slow.
Can you see it from Lauren? Lauren, can you, how do you do Canva? So I'll let you take that on. Okay.
When we found Canva. Well, I thought I found it, but I didn't.
You found Canva with the kids. Oh, it has upgraded, but can you do a how to do Canva?
Oh, okay. I see.
We can do a how to do Canva. Trust me, I'm still fighting with the thing. But usually it's I'm up at, alarm goes off at 6. I'm trying to post something. I'm sitting there doing it. But I do it on the desktop, but definitely we can do a
little cheat sheet.
Canva, email me. And we can set up I can show you how to do Canva.
Or maybe like a little cheat sheet that we could send out to everyone. But
if we do it and then we record it, it might work.
It might work. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Is there questions in the chat at all?
So actually there's more. What is it? I thought I saw something. Agreeing to post the admin. Oh, Terry's just thanking us, thanking you. And then there's in the chat, there was something about, obviously, Lauren was asking about sending out the presentation. Are you going to send out this presentation to everyone?
The presentation, and I'm going to write down Lauren's name so I know Miss Doreen.
And Doreen, you know her.
Thank you, Miss Doreen. I know you like our posts all the time. I appreciate you. And Doreen has no chapter, and I forgot which one, so my apologies. And Lauren, okay. Oh, Lauren wants the link to my light. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I have one on my vanity, and it works here.
Awesome.
Okay.
And I have to give a shout out to our communications director, Kadina Lee. I see her name. She hasn't said.
She joined us.
Are you? Yes, she's joined us. So as president-elect of our Florida South chapter, this is Kadine is our fabulous communications director in her first year. So it's a big job, communications, isn't it, Kim?
Yes.
It's a big position.
It is a big position. You shouldn't be afraid of it, especially if your past communications director is hanging around. But like, Caroline's not communications anymore, but like, I'll be like, hey, I learned something from her on Sunday. I sent it to her admin. Our admin is one of the remote ones that does a couple of chapters. She didn't even know about it. And we were like, she's like, I learned something new every day. So
our email addresses. Yes, we have aliases. So if and actually I'll add that for you, Kim, to send out each position. Communications director, you get 3 email addresses. So you get newsletter at your chapter, and you get website at your chapter. Professional development gets events.
Right.
The president gets sponsorships. And then you have students, a student rep gets 2 email addresses. So you have the admin that also has info and administrator email address. So
something odd that we didn't even know about. Exactly. So, well, I think we're good with the questions. I'm just making sure. Yes. Fabulous. Stella, thank you, my Stella. I love you. Stella Ludwig. She's a design member of our chapter. She's on our design awards committee. She's giving some little applause. Love you, Stella. So yes, lovely. So again, let's see here. So thank you, everybody. Kind of redoing this was because Stella was like, I need some help with social media. Can you put something together? And I'm like, I don't have time to put something together. Well, then I did this. So I was like, well, why don't we share it out and let members also, this gives you an opportunity to see how much your board members have put into things. Now, keep in mind, we always need board members. We need committee members. You do not have to put in as much work like I do, but I love it. So I enjoy it. Everybody's going, you always do too much, but I like it. I like to make sure all the cogs of the wheel keep turning. But if you are interested in doing something in our chapter regarding your chapter regarding legislation, your design awards, finances, anything, you can contribute a couple hours a month and it will totally benefit you. So that totally gives you that information there. So we'll let everybody go because we're at about a little over an hour, but we wanted to make sure everybody got their questions. Miss Doreen says, I just had a wonderful idea. We need to have a round robin conversation. Yes, we do, because we need more of those things like we were doing after these presentations during TLC. But we were going back to back to back presentation. Nobody wanted to talk to each other. At the end of the day, we're like, we're done. So
we really should have more of these.
Miss Doreen, I tasked you to share out through that all chapters email doing that. I'm tasking that out for you. You invite everybody. I'll host it on our Zoom. You invite everybody out.
See? Be a good delegator like Kim.
Yes,
You're really
delegate. Yes.
That's what we learn.
Yes. Carolyn is a very good delegator. My brain, I like to know everything. It's the designer brain in me. I like to make sure that everything is, my rep group goes, Kim should have been the event planner, versus a designer, and similar attributes to it. But okay, so just before we end today, thank you for joining Unlocking Your Social Media Communications Potential. If you are in our chapter area, do not forget to sign up for the mini golf and student supply drive. You can find the link on our social media. You can find the link on our chapter website under events and register there, or on Eventbrite. And thank you for joining us for the first PA East Chapter webinar of 2021-2022. Thank you, everybody. We'll record this for you and post it on our on our YouTube, and we will share out that information as soon as it's ready for you to view. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.